to episode 38 of Top of Mind with Consilio Wealth. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about holiday spending numbers. There's some data that's come out from Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so we thought we would unpack that and just what we think the rest of the year looks like. There's consumer confidence still is hanging sort of towards a low, which is interesting. So we thought we would unpack that and how you've got some interesting articles on that point related. And our last item for today, probably our biggest topic. Everybody has to have seen this in the news at this point. Millennials say that they need $525,000 of income to be happy. There was a recent study that was done by, I think it was Empower,
Yep.
across all the different generations. Most came back at about what you'd think. Somewhere around 100,000 or so seems to be reasonable. Millennials were like 5 times that. So super interesting. We have so many questions, and we actually use some AI to help us try to figure out how respondents were chosen for this, because it just seems kind of wild. Today we are recording on Friday, December 1st. It's 10:13 in the morning, the week after Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was really good. Low key, we stayed in town and we had visitors from Seattle, or my in-laws. My wife's sister came in town with their kids, and we had my brother come to the house. So very low key. I know I mentioned I hate dry turkey, and we actually got a ham. And
You got a ham, nice.
Yeah, we've been eating ham for the last however many days since Thanksgiving. So I'm all porked out right now because your ham sandwich, ham for breakfast, ham scramble. It's everything ham right now.
That must have been a big ham, because it sounds like you had a bunch of people over too.
Yeah, well, the majority of them were kids, so the kids ate like one bite and they were done, and they wanted to go back to play. So we had a lot of, I guess it was regular size, but it just, when kids don't do their part, the leftovers become excessive.
That's great.
Yeah,
we just finished our turkey of last night, our leftover turkey. So it was a successful week of revisiting the Thanksgiving meal. Pretty much.
Do you
every
do
day.
anything creative with the leftovers? Do you make like a turkey egg roll, or just to spice up turkey?
So this year, we have these. They're like sheets of seaweed. It's like to make imagine like a
nori,
seaweed burrito.
Nori. Yeah.
Yep. Just get them at the store. They're, I don't know, 15 inches by 10 inches or something like that. And so we made these turkey wraps. And so turkey in there, some mustard, some cranberry sauce, a little bit of lettuce or something else, and then roll that up and eat it as a little roll up. So that was kind of a fun addition, whether it was a quick lunch or a quick dinner or something like that. We did that this year. We started doing that when we ran out of kind of the sides from Thanksgiving. Ran out of the vegetables and stuff. It's like, okay, now we just have a bunch of turkey left. Now what? And so, anyway, that's what we did.
Yeah, when we start, it's like the leftovers. It's the turkey kind of Big Mac. You put the stuffing and the gravy and the mashed potatoes together, and you just make a sandwich. Then you get really tired of that really fast, and you're like, okay, what do we got to make turkey fried rice or something to mask the turkey while you're still consuming. Because day number 3 on turkey leftovers, I know I'm speaking for a lot of people, gets really old really fast.
It's got to mix it up. Yeah. But we got sick. All of us were sick. Well, our son was sick for like Saturday night, when your kids just like pass out on you and they have no energy. It's like, uh-oh. And so I took last week off, like I mentioned, and I was glad I did, because he basically slept on me all Monday. Then he was starting to get better, and then I got it Tuesday, and it's like, uh-oh. And then finally we got better, but I wanted to say that because last episode we were talking about how I thought turkeys went up. And I was like, man, if I could just buy a turkey on Friday. And we almost canceled the whole thing. Like, we were texting with our family, like, we're sick, we don't know if we can do this. I'll just leave the turkey outside, pick it up, and just go. Because I had done the brine on Monday, so it needed to be cooked on Thursday, Friday. And if we had canceled, we were going to reschedule it to like Saturday, so we'd be better. And then I was going to come in here and tell you that we bought a turkey on sale. But nonetheless, We kept it on actually Thanksgiving, and I don't have a sale turkey story to tell you about, but anyway, it was a good time.
Maybe next year. Yeah, we just got to go to the store and see what the sale turkeys go for.
Yeah. Well, I'll go to the store tomorrow, so I'll see if there's still turkeys and if they're cheaper.
Well, now it's Christmas turkey. You just remove the Thanksgiving turkey label and slap a Christmas turkey label on there, and you full price again.
Also true.
If I were running a grocery store, I'd do that.
I would at least hide them for a couple weeks, hide the turkeys for a couple weeks and then bring it back out.
Exactly.
Hey, I want to shout out to Hao. I want to recognize Hao on the pod here a number of weeks ago. Hao passed, thank you for the people tuning in on YouTube. There's this giant glowing light behind him, and that is a CFA Institute certificate. Hao has spent countless hours over many years going through level 1, level 2, and level 3 of the CFA. The CFA is a chartered financial analyst. It is probably the most or one of the most sought out designations in our industry. It's a specialty in investment analysis, risk analysis. It's an internationally recognized designation. Which is cool. Portfolio construction, this kind of stuff. And Hao and another team member of ours, Alex, who we'll have to have on the pod sometime.
Yeah,
both
it'd be fun.
You guys passed that exam and got your letters in the mail. So I just wanted to shout out and say congratulations, awesome work, very well deserved, and we're proud of having 2 CFAs on the team right now.
Yeah, huge point of pride. Super happy for Alex as well. Everyone's journey is going to be different. We put in a lot of effort and work into this, and it's a proud thing to get that big poster-sized certificate in the mail. I thought it was going to be a little, regular undergrad degree size, but no, it's a 17 by 22. If anyone was asking, it's just wildly oversized. And 17 by 22 is a weird size, right?
Yeah.
8.5 by 11. Let's stick to that. Let's make it easy to frame these things.
Yeah, the CFP one is similar. It's huge. I think the CFA one is probably bigger, and I think it's in competition for we're bigger, we're better, and here's a massive thing to put on your wall.
I'm going to run out of background space because I'm going for the CFP now too. So
Yeah. Well, hey, congrats, and
thank you.
And everyone listening, it's a big deal. So please help me in recognizing Hao for his achievement. All right, to the main event. So holiday spending, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna flip it again. Everyone, check out the Consilio U. We got 1,000 views collectively. It's Chris or Nathan, our other partner, who give 5-6 minute snippets of really easy to digest financial planning topics. Check it out. Again, we're a bit of blowhard on this podcast, but those are easier to consume than this.
Yeah, great point. Thanks for calling that out. So we launched this in July, I believe. This is a separate playlist in our YouTube channel, and the whole point of it is to be very short form. So obviously the podcast is much more long form, and we also post this on YouTube, and we post our quarterly market commentary on YouTube, and then Consilio University. The goal of that is really to be 2 to 7 minute videos that are super educational, and think about learning about how to maximize your Microsoft 401k, or what is the after-tax 401k and can you do it, or HSA plans, how do they work, or how to change your sell to cover election on your vesting shares at Amazon. All of this stuff are these little videos that frankly, we answer these questions all the time in our meetings, and we wanted to get it publicly online. So we're super proud that this has been our most popular endeavor, and we've got over 1,000 views. The one thing that I will put on the wall behind me here is the YouTube thing.
Just
when
draw
you're
one. Yeah.
Yep.
The silver platinum one.
Well, you can't draw one. You got to earn it. How? But when we are far from that, we need more subscribers. So everybody listening, please subscribe, because that would be super cool to get that. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to be a financial advisor with nothing on the wall but the cool YouTube play symbol. Anyway, that's my goal. You won't see anything on that wall until we get it. Actually, I have some shelves I need to put up because people keep telling me it's too dark.
Yeah,
back
too
there.
barren. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and when it's sunny out, it looks like I'm in the Matrix because it lights up in here because I face west here. And now this time of year, it's like awkwardly dark. So anyway, I need to get some lights. Maybe that's a holiday project. Okay, moving on. So what are we here to talk about? We are here to talk about holiday spending. Let's start there. So you had some data that came out from, I think it was Black Friday, Cyber Monday. What are you seeing? What are your insights? What do you think the economy is going to do? Are we crashing and burning here, or are we going to continue to spend like crazy and GDP is going to be awesome still?
Yeah, leading into the holidays, everyone's just expressing a lot of doubt about the consumer finally tapping out. Not in everyone, I'm referring to Target CEO, Walmart CEO. It's like, hey, let's pump the brakes on the consumer spending because we're seeing a significant slowdown in, discretionary goods being bought at our stores. Right, customers are migrating more towards like the essentials, groceries, toiletries, things like that. But what came out on Friday after Thanksgiving, I guess that Saturday, Adobe posted a 7.5% year-over-year growth in terms of online shopping. So
Adobe did?
Adobe, yeah. I don't know why Adobe does these readings. The PDF company,
Okay.
Yeah, Adobe. Maybe there's Adobe marketing, but maybe we should know more about Adobe before we cite them. But they said 7.5% year-over-year increase in Black Friday spending. Specifically online spending. So they report on that. Brick and mortars, we won't find out for a while. The fact that the brick and mortar CEOs are saying, hey, slow down, is probably telling. My son, just to quickly take a tangent, my son graduated at his what's called ABA training. It's autism therapy that we've, as a family, really committed to. It's like a therapist comes to our house and teaches them how to communicate and be more verbal. He graduated last week, and we, as a celebration, it's like, hey, let's take you out to the, McDonald's as a treat and take you to Walmart to buy a gift, buy yourself a graduation gift. And this is post Black Friday. I was expecting barren shelves. The entire store was stocked, and the sale prices are still listed, like the discounted prices were listed. So maybe Walmart's right that consumers aren't buying as much of their discretionary goods versus someone going to Amazon, because I'm pretty sure we haven't seen Amazon results, I don't believe, but I'm pretty sure there would be year-over-year growth for online, specifically Amazon.
Yeah, I think online is we need those numbers, right? Somebody sent me this post, but it was Black Friday in maybe early 2000s or something like that, and then Black Friday today. And imagine the mall parking lot or the Macy's or the Walmart, and there's like tons of people in there, bags everywhere, people are shoving each other out of the way. I mean, I remember seeing in the news like stores are opening up at midnight this Thanksgiving for Black Friday. Yeah. And now they don't do that anymore, right? So I think it's less leaves the store and more leaves distribution centers, which is why it's harder to get a gauge when you're walking through the store if a shelf is full or empty, if the company's actually selling anything. Because again, most of it comes through the internet these days. Correct.
So I did see a meme video of a wild Black Friday, like, the rush to the door when they open. Yeah. It was one guy who walked in leisurely, and he was just kind of perusing the aisles without anyone else in sight other than the workers. So as a former worker of a retail store, Black Friday was a major stress point because customers are pretty awful people, especially the day after Thanksgiving. So maybe it's a good thing that we see less of the physicalness of it.
This is interesting, though. So Ally Bank reported that half of consumers plan to take on more debt to pay for holiday expenses this season, and only 23% have a plan to pay it off within 1 or 2 months.
Yeah, credit card spending. Yeah, we're okay with credit card spending as long as you pay it off within the month, right?
Well, but that's the thing, is that I at a national level, credit card debt has not risen faster than just normal Trend, inflation. Forget about inflation being high in the recent time here, but it's kind of just been a normal thing. Yet I continue to read these reports that seemingly more and more people are outspending their incomes, but I'm not seeing it in the big data.
No, I think the underlying data is strong, maybe, but that's the measurement of people, what they plan to do, whether they're capable of not of doing it, meaning they might have tapped into savings and not have to go into debt. But yeah, there's that divergence of what people are saying and what they're able to do. And I think that kind of leads into the next topic of happiness or lack thereof, at least from the U.S. consumer.
Is this where we get to talk about millennials?
Yeah. This is where we talk about the consumer confidence survey.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to talk about millennials, but all right, you kick us off,
okay.
And then we can talk about consumer confidence. So go ahead.
Yeah. I think, the broader story is consumer confidence is still at an all-time low. It hit the low on a scale of 1 to 20. It was in the 60s last June when Chris and I famously said that was the bottom for the stock market. It kind of was.
Kind of was.
Yeah.
Kind of we get credit. Yeah.
Yeah. But we said the average return when sentiment bottoms was 24%. From that June 2022 to June 2023, guess what the return was from the market?
June to June, 9%.
18%. So still below average, but amazing 12-month. And following that pattern of when people feel bad about the economy, and we'll get into more detail about what the consumer confidence actually measures, but when people feel bad about the economy, somehow the stock market doesn't really care, and it's a buy low situation, especially in the case of June. And anyone who sat that out missed out on 18% that most likely won't get back at this point.
Okay, so I actually looked this up because we've talked about this a number of times on the pod, this consumer confidence survey. And it's a handful of questions, and I know that I've said that a couple times on the pod, but I actually looked it up to find exactly what it is. So each month, the conference board surveys 5,000 U.S. households. If you've ever gotten this phone call, send us an email. I've never heard of anybody getting this phone call. I would assume of course they randomly do it. I feel like somebody like me is excluded from the survey because I'm licensed, with the SEC and financial planner and whatnot. So I feel like they would assume that somebody like me would give them a bias. But
still, you'd still be on some kind of list over the years, right? Before you would personally tell them that you're licensed.
That's fair.
Yeah,
maybe I'm totally wrong, right? I mean, I guess. Anyway, okay. So here's a question. So there's 5 questions.
Yep.
And you are asked these 5 questions, and you are asked to answer: I feel positive, I feel negative, or I am neutral. Question number 1. Current business conditions. How do you feel about the current business conditions? I could answer that. Question number 2. Go ahead.
I feel great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Question number 2. Business conditions for the next 6 months.
I feel great.
Okay, good. Number 3. Current employment conditions. Positive,
I feel
negative,
great.
Neutral. Feel great. Okay, good. Number 4. Employment conditions for the next 6 months.
Oh, so what was the previous question relative to this one?
Yeah. So current employment conditions is number 3.
Okay. Feel
Just
great.
so current business conditions and then business conditions over the next 6 months. Current employment conditions over the next 6 months.
I feel good, but not great.
Okay, more neutral.
Yeah.
More neutral. And then number 5 is total family income for the next 6 months.
I feel good.
I think that's an interesting one. They ask about income, not save. How do you feel about your bank balance? Anyway, those are the 5 questions. Basically, how do you feel today and how do you feel over the next 6 months? And then based on the positive, negative, or neutral, they gather the data and they create a relative value, and then they plot it on the dot plot. So that's how it's done, everybody. Now you know.
Yeah, and well, the article that we have linked to this more recently is the CNN poll released earlier in November. At this point, 72% of Americans think the things are going badly. 72%. 66% say the economy will be like an important factor when voting in next year's election. Again, doesn't bode well for Biden, but again, we're not here to say who we prefer or not. It's just, it's weird. It is weird to see such a overwhelming, I don't know, pessimism or negative outlook for the economy when I said yes to employment, right? Unemployment's at 4.7%. Wage growth has grown. And the big rub, which kind of knocks all this over, is inflation, or how high prices have been.
Yeah.
And the big reason Black Friday has grown online is we've actually seen the steepest discounts in like 2 years in terms of the Black Friday pricing offerings, right?
That makes sense because prices have come up, so steepest discounts.
Yeah, it's coming from a higher base, right?
I want to say something here
base.
Real quick before we go too far. So you're saying the majority of Americans feel like things aren't going well. There's a sentence here in the article. So it says 58% of people told CNN that Biden's policies have made economic conditions worse. Isn't that true for every president? Isn't there always a majority, like 2/3 or more, that says you've made it worse? It doesn't matter who the president is, right? Yeah. Especially nearing kind of the end of whatever, that fourth year. I feel like that is fun with, not fun with numbers, but I feel like it's always the case.
Fun with questions. Yeah, fun with
questions, yeah.
Again, I'll be pretty blunt. When was the last time a president hired you directly for your job? And when was the last time you really honestly thought unless you work for the federal government, that the president was responsible for? I'm talking from a finance point of view. Sure. I totally get what the non-financial people think about how much power presidents have over an economy, let alone a multi-trillion-dollar economy.
Yeah.
I think the disconnect there is pretty wild, but I think it falls into the what exposure people are seeing, right? So the next paragraph is like TikTok. Some guy posted about a $16 Big Mac, or not Big Mac, McDonald's special meal.
Really?
And it was, he posted, again, it's regional, so I think it was in Northeast, so New York area, and it was a promotional meal that had, I don't know, I think it was still one burger. It's still $16 at McDonald's. That's still pretty expensive.
I'll pay $16. I'll pay $24 at a steakhouse. For a steakhouse burger, like a good.
Yeah. There's a sense of worth there. But yeah, this was a pretty viral moment on TikTok and YouTube. And no matter how much news you read, that viral moment does seem to amplify and stick more than anything else that's sensible, right?
Hey, I gotta call you out for a minute. You've been dogging on Chipotle for a long time.
Yeah.
Because of inflation in their burritos. And as weird as it was, so we were sick last week, day after Thanksgiving, I finally got my appetite back, and I'm like, I need a burrito. I'm going to Chipotle. It was just the only thing that sounded good. And so I go, and I get just your standard barbacoa burrito. No, I didn't get guac. Just a normal thing. And it was $11 out the door. I thought that was reasonable. I was expecting to pay $18 based on what you keep telling me, but I don't know. I thought it was reasonable.
Yeah, and I think pricing is pretty regional, but yeah, you are in a higher. I would assume you bought the burrito in the greater Seattle area. So
I did, but come on, how much is a burrito down by you?
But the same price without the guac. Yeah, but with the guac, yeah, it's in the range where I'm complaining. But I gotta have guac in my burrito.
So it's the guac that puts you over the edge. That's what it is.
Yeah, because guacamole shouldn't cost $2.35 extra. Like it's a. I think the other part is that I've seen with Chipotle is the portion sizes have been smaller. So they've been open about raising prices. I'm not dogging them for being transparent. They've been pretty obvious about hey, we have to raise prices to address meat prices, labor prices, yada yada.
Okay, I will give you that.
But
I will give you that.
But I have seen, portion sizes shrink. I don't know how big the burrito is. Honestly, my kids are super picky, so we won't go to Chipotle. But I think portion size might be something they control for too. Just decrease the size of the scooping spoons, and problem solved there.
So in college, I would eat barbacoa burrito all the time. Like that was my thing. Me and
you gotta
go
steak. The shredded meat texture doesn't really sit well with me.
I would say that it's gone downhill. I would say that it was great back then, and you had a good amount throughout the whole burrito. So that's what I haven't eaten Chipotle in years. And so again, this is what I wanted. Barbacoa burrito, boom, done. Sour cream, cheese, some lettuce, some corn, medium salsa, out the door, right? And the barbacoa and when I saw him putting it on the burrito, like he took these tiny little pincer amounts of it, and I'm like, dude, can I get a little more of that, And but there was a big chunk that fell on the burrito. I was like, oh, that's gonna be good. Well, it was all like gristle, and it wasn't good. So I ended up pulling it out of the burrito, trying to pull it apart. So I was less than impressed at the quality of that. Which,
you left that part out of the conversation. You were like, hey, how the burrito price is not that expensive.
Hey, we're talking about cost here. We're talking about cost. You pivoted us to quality. We're talking about cost.
Cost versus satisfaction.
So, and then like many bites, it was, rice, beans, some lettuce and corn, some whatever. And I was like, where's my barbacoa? Yeah. So next time, maybe I'll do another experiment. I'm going to go get a chicken burrito because I'm sitting there and Chipotle, right? They do everything.
In front of you,
grinding their cheese. Yeah. And they've got this big grill back there with all their chicken going and they're seasoning it and everything. I'm like, that looks good. I'm going to get chicken burrito to see if they actually put more on it. Because I'm thinking maybe the barbacoa is more expensive, whatever. So anyway, okay, I'll report back.
But the other thing you said is they didn't prompt for tip. That might entice me to go back because I am so sick of seeing the tip prompts.
I was so ready for the tip prompt. I mean, I'm standing in line and I'm like, oh my God, am I going to tip $1? Am I going to not tip? I'm going to walk out of here $2. What am I going to do? And, rings me up, swipe the card, receipt prints out. He's like, thanks so much. Have a great day. Yeah. See ya. No tip
and
prompt.
All this stuff we've been saying, a lot of people say it's the president's fault. Tell me where barbacoa quality is Biden's fault, or if it was Trump, it was Trump's fault, right? Like, this is really weird connection that the sour mood. The American consumers have been exceptionally willing to spend money, so they're not happy about spending money, but they're glad they're doing it. So they say they're not happy, but they are doing, in terms of action, something completely different.
Well, there's a disconnect with the numbers, right? Because if most people are saying, and that's why I think that they shouldn't call me on the survey, because I would kind of answer like you, like, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, we we look at the data. Yeah.
GDP, that was this week, right? I'm mixing. Yeah, it was this week. GDP print was 5%, which was there must have been something seasonal in that. A 5% annualized rate with this quarter. I mean, it jumped from like doubled.
Yeah.
Over last quarter.
The typical response you'll see is like, well, the government's fudging the numbers. I was like, well, even if the scale's broken, a broken scale, as long as it's consistent, is good for comparability. So where we were GDP-wise last year, right? So it's been even though it's a big jump, again, you can't really accuse, because there hasn't been a measurement shift. You can't accuse fudging numbers. Again, there's some really smart people that look at the numbers month in, month out, and if they're not sounding the alarm, I'm really not going to listen to Joe Schmo on Facebook saying the numbers are fudged by the government.
Jay Powell's talking right now, so let's see what the market's doing. Oh, it's holding. Okay. All right, he should set down the mic and walk away.
Yeah, just go away.
Every time Jay Powell speaks, market goes down. So just thought I'd give you that quick check.
Yeah, so I think what we're talking about is the happiness or lack thereof, and it goes right into the next topic, is the Empower study of, coincidentally, unhappiness.
Well, maybe not unhappiness, but perceived happiness.
Your perceived happiness, or what it's going to take to be happy, right?
This hit everybody's phones. It's been all over the news, and this is, I was going to say hilarious. I don't know if that's appropriate, but here we go. So this study here, which was really, so Empower did a study conducted by the Harris Poll in August. They asked 2,034 Americans aged 18 and over what they think the key to financial happiness really is. Turns out 59% of respondents think happiness can be bought. And the average person believes it would take having 1.2 million in the bank to be truly happy financially. When it comes to annual salary, the average respondent thinks that they need 284,000 each year to be happy. And here is where the data gets, I think, really interesting.
Yep.
Here we go by generations. Okay, boomers responded and said, we need $124,000 annual income or salary to be happy, and we need a net worth of about $1 million.
Seems reasonable, yeah.
Seems reasonable, yeah. Seems totally reasonable. Gen X, $130,000 of annual income, okay, same, and a net worth of $1.2 million. That seems about reasonable as well. Like, okay, maybe a little higher because of maybe some inflation or a little younger generation, whatever. Millennials, next up, $525,000 of annual income with a net worth of $1.7 million. Clearly there's a disconnect there, right? Because if the income is like 4 times higher, but the net worth
income
is
should be higher, yeah.
Only a little bit higher?
Or the net worth, yeah.
A lot of income, don't need to save it.
As a millennial, that seems reasonable.
That should be that should be like 525 of income and 4 or 5 million of net worth. But
not the strongest subject for us is math.
So Gen Z, 128,000 of income with a net worth of about 500,000. I think that is actually interesting too. Gen Z, the lowest net worth, half of what boomers said, and basically the same income. So again, when these studies come out, we've all seen them. They all are about the same numbers, right?
There's a linear path, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Millennials at 525. So you dug into this a little further. You dug into the respondents and whatnot. So what did you find here? And just, can you enlighten us on how the data got? Yeah, go ahead.
Let me speak for an entire generation. I think anecdotally, millennials are incredibly special. The first generation that kind of turned the century, right? Grew up with the combination of analog and digital and the internet age. So we're a very special bunch. And we deserve $525,000 a year. I don't see anything less.
Hold on, let's note economically also what happened, because Morgan Housel would tell us that what you experience throughout life,
there's an imprint.
Impacts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
I think that's the more serious
side.
What is
taught.
Yeah, I'm not being quite serious yet.
You go. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
But yeah, the millennial generation, I'm, again, taking a step back, actually, stop messing around. The millennial generation, I don't see them as being much different, other than what you've mentioned is some of the psyche could be damaged from some really severe recessions, some really severe events in terms of the market. Not just the stock market, but like the real estate market, right? What other generation lived through the 2008 crash at the burgeoning of their grown-up years, right? That's tough.
And pre 2008, it was very easy to get a house, very easy to qualify, no down, just anybody can get a house regardless of the price. Don't even need to make much money. And then all of those lending standards changed and housing prices went up.
Exactly.
So now a lot of those people are feeling like, I'll never be able to buy a house. Yeah.
And even worse, right? What other generation at the maximum earning age power, I guess, I think you know what I mean, was hit with a global pandemic and everything was shut down. And then further exacerbating the housing crisis from their point of view. Right. So there are some lingering effects that are economically based that seemingly hit millennials. I would say Gen X as well, but not as bad because they had a few years head start to kind of get their roots planted.
Yep.
But yeah, it started with 2008. I think that's one of the biggest things that is leading to some of the weird responses, because that's a 5x income requirement needed to be happy, but it doesn't show up on the back end in net worth. So where's that money going from their point of view? That's what I would question. And who
the perceived need is interesting.
Yeah. And who are they asking? I would really want to question the Harris pollsters.
The
right?
pollsters.
Well, it's a pollster, right? Because they interviewed 2,000 people. So it's all broken up by generation. Silent generation had 200 respondents, which in the statistics world, it's not a huge sample size. Millennials, 720 out of 2,000.
10%.
Yeah, but 720 millennials have pretty wide-ranging opinions or needs, depending on where they live, depending on their education level, the industry they work in, their family size, right? If they were able to buy a house in 2010, 2011, when house prices were still low, that makes a huge difference in terms of how they view things. But yeah, the math isn't the very strong suit, because requiring $525,000 in income, but not making it up for it on net worth means, one, they don't know how to make adjustments, or they don't know how to budget, or two, they're spending it all, or intend to spend it all. I think that's just weird.
I do think it's interesting that 35% of respondents in the study, 720 of them were millennials. So that would actually suggest that the data on millennials is potentially more accurate, or is accurate
Than any other group, yeah.
Yeah, my question here is, was it appropriately regionally diverse? I could certainly see 525,000 in LA or New York, or, hey, I want that nice car and I got to buy this apartment, or, live in an apartment, or that kind of thing. And yeah, I probably need $500,000 to be able to do all that stuff. And maybe that's reasonable to shoot for, given the desired lifestyle of the people that you want to be. But if you're in a super low cost of living area, I don't know, Oklahoma or something, I can't help but wonder that the respondent would say the same thing, right? It just costs less money. If your rent is $1,200 a month, why do you need $525? So
correct.
I think that should be dug into a little bit more.
Yeah, when you have an
open-ended,
if you have an open-ended response polling like that, you have to adjust for outliers. So there might have been some crazy subset of the millennial group there that said, well, I need $1 million, and is bringing up the entire average. Why don't you kick that person out or hang up the phone on them, because they're obviously crazy, right? Or they just have a different life circumstance.
This goes further. So it says, can money buy happiness? This was asked here. And the answer is yes, for 59% of Americans, 72% of millennials, and 67% of Gen Z. And the price tag was $1.2 million. That is net worth. Just 17% of people say that financial contentment is about reaching a certain net worth. So it's something else. It's not about net worth. It's something else. But most people strive for this. This is, of course, in somewhat. It's not contradicting the famous, I believe it was a Harvard study, said over about 70,000 of income, which I think is like 90,000 or so today, adjusted for inflation. Anything above that,
the amount of happiness. Yeah, exactly.
Which actually, I've seen more updated studies that sort of challenges that thesis, that says at higher levels of income, what that more income allows you to buy back your time. The only thing that we all have together is 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And so if more hours of time can be bought back to spend more time with family or traveling or this, that, and the other, that's more achievable at higher levels of income than it is at lower levels of income. And so, and then buying back time equals happiness. And so does money buy happiness? That study says yes, based on that. Possibly that's what a lot of this data is going to, because if previously you told me people are stressed, people don't feel good about the economy, well, then I don't want to work 50 or 60 or 70 hours a week. I want to, do other things with my time and spend time with my friends and my family and this kind of stuff. And so, if I had more money, I could buy back my time. Maybe that's where all this is going. I don't know. But I just think it's interesting that that millennials say they need a lot of money, and I don't know that they know why they need that much money, but I need that much money, and then my problems will go away.
Well, it's because coffee, right? Under the same, I guess the highlights that Empower chose to point out is 62% of millennials say they're willing to spend $7 a day on coffee.
That's an experience, though.
Yeah, that accounts that should explain $525K a year, right?
No. Because it's just how people spend. So, because millennials, we all remember the initial research. It's like, oh my God, this cohort is not going to work. They want a promotion after their second day at work.
Yeah.
They're lazy. They're sick on Fridays. Like this is really bad. And actually, how it turns out is that yes, possibly that cohort needs more recognition, but it's that their spending habits are that they want to spend on experiences. So only recently have millennials started to buy homes. They've delayed that purchase. And this was, of course, one of the biggest, oh my God, moments for America is like, do we have anybody to buy all these homes that the boomers are going to sell? Turns out, yes, no surprise there. But millennials want to spend money on experiences, whether it's $7 coffee, $80 wine tasting, a tour of the entire, back end of a restaurant or something. Like they'll spend money on those things when, because they see value and they want to learn about it versus other cohorts won't. So $7 coffee, no problem. I don't see an issue with that. I think it goes in the experience category for them because they're spending less on other things and they just value those experiences more, which is why $7 is, reasonable. Yeah,
if you do the math, $210 a month. If you do that $7 coffee religiously, 30 days a month, $210 is a gym membership. It's a car payment. It's stuff that millennials probably don't value as much as other generations that are older than them. Cable, right? Cable subscriptions. I think it's a budgetary preference, and I don't know why people choose to highlight that and what the guacamole toast, or what's it called? The
avocado toast.
Avocado toast, guacamole toast. I'm so stuck on guacamole. But you see what I mean? It's those expenses, $210 a month isn't gonna make or break a retirement plan. But that could be a consequence of other lack of planning issues. I get it. But have you seen 210 swing someone's success or not in terms of being able to retire or meet their goals?
I mean, I can't answer that because the people that work
depends
with us
on the person.
Are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the folks that hire us are not in a position of where a decision of $7 a day is saving $7 more, spending $7 more does not make a material impact on their plan. So I can't speak to it because we work with a
a different subset. I totally get it, but I'm saying is if $210 times 12 is a real financial issue, maybe yes, let's start really consider saving more and making coffee at home. But the experiential thing, I think it was a lot more important to millennials and younger Gen Z as well than the older groups, because old groups just really, really prioritize home ownership and owning stuff, right? That was kind of the American dream, and it doesn't seem like that's ironclad as much. And when someone starts thinking differently about that, then the questions really come. Oh, you're wasting all your money on coffee or avocado toast or guacamole toast. I'm going to make that a thing. Guacamole toast.
Yeah, that's a new thing. Yeah.
But I think that's what
this
we're
is
trying to
interesting.
highlight.
3 in 4 workers say that they'd like to receive financial coaching, and this is alluding to from their employer, I believe, to decrease financial stress. That's interesting. 37% say saving for retirement is a top goal for the year and for the year ahead, and 67% believe their employer has a responsibility to help with financial planning. That's like things like 401k options. I think that's actually pretty interesting. Advice is a top factor in determining financial happiness. So more than half of respondents know what their financial goal is. I know that too, $525,000 of income. But feel
simple
that the study showed it. But feel that they don't know how to get there. Yeah, I agree. I know I need $525 of income, but I don't know how to get there. Americans rank getting good money advice as a key determinant to financial happiness. I could not agree more.
But the thing on our side is we're battling decades of bad actors in our industry, like financial or people who label themselves as financial advisors. there's a lot of hurdles mentally that people kind of have the baggage about our industry. And I think that makes it hard, right? Because if you see a financial advisor, oh, what is this guy trying to sell me? And maybe there's a fear of that because there is a bad reputation in our industry. I don't know how much we're running into it, but like you know what I mean, right?
I think and I think the issue is like the TikTok financial advisor is not actually a financial advisor. I've wondered where the SEC might step in on some of this, where you swipe through and you start seeing people are making investment recommendations on TikTok.
Look at sports stars, right?
And they're not licensed.
Cristiano Ronaldo is getting a class action lawsuit of $1 billion for hawking a cryptocurrency, and this is happening now. So you're seeing Kardashians, you're seeing Tom Brady, you're seeing people who have this reach that's already built in, hashing out financial advice, and they're not licensed. They're not having to go through the rigmarole we do just to stay in this profession.
They don't have a giant poster behind their video like Hao does.
That doesn't say much in terms of validity, but you totally, But,
in fact, they have the YouTube play symbol that I'm going for. God, what's that say about me?
They have those in spades. And I think that's the issue is those what they say has a lot more reach than what, a couple of blowhards like me and you say.
Okay, don't be so strong now. Anyway, super interesting study. We'll wrap on this here.
Tell us here about your guacamole toast and your Chipotle burrito standards.
Tell us the best bang for your buck at Chipotle. I'll go back and get one. I'm going against the barbacoa at this point. It's not as good as it was when I was in college.
Add guacamole, please. Make your burrito life a lot easier to.
Guacamole's not free. It shouldn't be free. I don't believe it should be free. I'm totally against you on that. If I had a burrito shop, I would be charging for guacamole. I think that's just. Even the fancy. Anyway, okay, never mind. We got to wrap.
That was a fun conversation, though.
All right, fun conversation today. All right, we'll catch everybody in a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.